member. The question is that this bill be now read a second time, and I call the member for Sturt.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise today to speak in support of the Major Sporting Events, Indicia and Images Protection Amendment Bill of 2026. And, Deputy Speaker, I have to say I was very excited when I walked into the Federation Chamber this afternoon, and the first thing I heard was the member for Leichhardt talking about Australian legend Kieran Perkins. He is a hero of mine, and I have actually devoted a portion of my remarks this afternoon to talking about his achievements. Deputy Speaker, I was a reasonably sporty kid. I loved to train hard, compete, I loved to win, and swimming was my sport. I still love to think I got close-ish to making the 2000 Sydney Olympic Games for the 400 metres freestyle. If you think me almost halfway down a 50-metre lap and Australian legend Hayley Lewis down the other, cap and goggles removed, breathing comfortably, is close. But we can only dream, Deputy Speaker. Now, one of my fondest memories, and what I think was the trigger for me becoming a true sports lover and Olympic nut, was the 1992 Barcelona Olympic Games and Kieran Perkins' magnificent victory in the men's 1500-metre freestyle final. I had to watch the replay because I was at school when the race was swum, but I was truly inspired by his world record time, 14 minutes, 43.48. Even better was the way another Australian legend, Glenn Houseman, raced to finish second and give Australia a 1-2 finish. Kieran Perkins became my second sporting idol after Hayley Lewis, who won a silver in the 800 metres freestyle and bronze in the 400-metre freestyle, my event, at the same Olympic Games. So I was inspired by these efforts to train harder than ever, to push myself to see how far I could go. And then I was even more inspired 4 years later when Kieran Perkins beat almost every single odd to go back-to-back in the 1500 metres final at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. He used every single ounce of resolve, energy and mental resilience and willpower, and he touched the wall first in 14 minutes 56. And it was a brilliant call by another Australian legend, Dennis Cometti, and a truly incredible moment. As Dennis said at the end of the call, "This is rare gold, the best kind of gold." An athlete basically written off by the media and his competitors was the champion again, a back-to-back Olympic champion at the tender age of 22, which is incredible. Australians love moments like these. Whether it is Kieran Perkins or Hayley Lewis or Cathy Freeman, the Australian Diamonds, the Matildas, the Socceroos, we love our sporting champions and we love these great moments. But we also love and are in awe of all of our athletes who compete in the Olympics, the Commonwealth Games, at World Cups. Now, my good friend Lisa, who will actually be in Parliament House tomorrow, told me a story of when she was watching the diving at the Paris Olympics, and an Australian diver finished 8th or 9th, not a medal winner, and one of Lisa's beautiful kids remarked that wasn't too good, 8th or 9th, and Lisa quite rightly corrected that assertion and reinforced that actually it was in fact incredibly good. It was amazing. To make the Olympics and finish 8th or 9th in the world is a truly outstanding achievement. So to all of the athletes who are heading to the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, we are proud of you no matter what happens. And to all the athletes who are currently training in an effort to maybe qualify for the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games in Los Angeles or the 2032 Games in Brisbane, we are proud of you. And this Albanese Labor government supports you. And this is indicated by the $513 million commitment that the government made on 17 June 2026. This $513 million package will be delivered by the Australian Sports Commission over the next 2 years, and it includes funding for 68 sporting programs and a record $42.8 million to assist athletes with daily living and training expenses. And for some athletes, this will mean that they will actually have a real shot at qualifying for the 2032 Brisbane Olympic Games, which will be an incredible major sporting event for Australia. 1956 Melbourne, 2000 Sydney, 2032 Brisbane. So this bill, Deputy Speaker, the Major Sporting Events, Indicia and Images Protection Amendment Bill 2026, operates to amend the Major Sporting Events, Indicia and Images Protection Act 2014 to modernise the legislative framework for protecting the commercial rights associated with major sporting events in Australia. The Act aims to prevent unauthorised commercial use, including ambush marketing of protected indicia and images associated with major sporting events. Under the Act, every time a major sporting event is to be held in Australia, a bill needs to be introduced into Parliament to add the event to a schedule to the bill and make associated rules. The amendments made by this bill will see the existing schedule-based model replaced, thus removing the need for repeated primary legislation amendments every time there is a major sporting event, and to allow for the more timely recognition of those events. This means that major sporting events and associated matters can be prescribed and then repealed when the event is over by legislative instrument. The bill will also introduce criteria that must be satisfied before a major sporting event may be prescribed and on the length of the protection period. These criteria ensure that protections are applied only to events of international significance and that the exercise of the power remains targeted and proportionate. Following the enactment of the amendments, rules are intended to be developed to support upcoming events, including the Brisbane 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. Now, what is behind this? So we know that traditionally, event owners rely on sponsorship revenue to stage their events, reducing the reliance on government financial support. In return for their event sponsorship, sponsors can publicise their support by using event indicia and images. But what we see is businesses that do not sponsor the events seeking to capitalise on the event by using event indicia or images, suggesting a sponsorship arrangement with that event where none exists. And this is what is known as ambush marketing by association. Such behaviour can cause confusion for the general public as to who the actual event sponsor is, thus reducing the commercial return on the sponsorship dollar. Now, if sponsors do not have certainty that they are the only business that can directly benefit from association with major sporting events, they may withdraw their sponsorship or decide not to support that event. And a decrease in sponsorship revenue could then increase the need for financial assistance from other stakeholders, including the federal government and state and territory governments. Corporate partnerships that are supported by a framework that keeps the integrity of that partnership intact are crucial for the success of major sporting events. And corporate sponsorship is also critical for sport in general, for events and competitions that might not be internationally significant, but which are still important to our national social fabric, like the AFLW or the BBLW. And most important of all, the Suncorp Super League netball competition. The grand final is this weekend. Go Adelaide Thunderbirds. I wish you well as you seek to win what will be your third flag in 5 years. Now, we don't have these competitions without government support and corporate support. Then, Deputy Speaker, if we don't have these competitions, we lose pathways for young athletes. And if there are no pathways, people stop playing sport. We know that sport for young people and community sport for people of all ages, including masters grade netballers like me, promotes the physical and mental health that we need to keep communities across this country strong. We also know we don't have sport for young people, we don't have community sport without umpires. If there are no umpires, who are often volunteers or who are often paid very small stipends, then there are no games. And this, Deputy Speaker, is why it was so disappointing to learn that a local netball club in my electorate of Sturt, that a Glenunga netball club has recently had to consider banning spectators because of the level of abuse being directed at umpires who are often teenagers. The abuse is coming from parents who are adults and has been directed at umpires who are kids. Spectators who are angry at decisions being made by junior umpires at junior netball games, hurling abuse at the umpires to a point where the game is being ruined and the confidence of umpires is being completely shattered. Now, I was a teenage netball umpire myself back in the 1990s, and I recall how intimidating it was and how often people would yell from the sidelines that I was an idiot or didn't know what I was doing, never willing, of course, to pick up a whistle themselves. And I thought that decades on, we would be doing better. I thought we would have learned how valuable kids and community sport is and be doing everything we can to support young people who volunteer to umpire so that others can play a game. If we don't have umpires, we don't have a game, and there is nothing more important than physical activity for young people, nothing more important than providing kids with opportunities to play sport so they stay off screens and get outside. If kids who are umpiring are getting abused, they won't do it. And if the players who are witnessing this abuse, their enjoyment of the game will be diminished and maybe they'll stop playing too. It's not fun. If there's no game, there's no pathway to the highest levels of competition, to elite sport. There is less physical and mental health in the community. So if you are one of those people who hurls abuse at junior umpires, please have a look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself if you would like to see the end of community sport. If you'd like the competition your child plays in to be wound up because no one will umpire. And then ask yourself if you're willing to put your own hand up and step in. And if the answer to any of those questions is remotely no, then perhaps it's time you retire as a spectator. Deputy Speaker, us Aussies love our sport of all levels. We love seeing people have a go. Having a go leads to improvement, to a love of physical fitness, to a determination to succeed, to a love of hard work on the training track, to a love of competition and a lifelong love of health and fitness. Let's foster this to make sure that the next generation continues to play sport and to maybe one day represent Australia at the highest level possible, the Olympic Games. I commend the bills to the chamber.
Thank the member. The question is that this bill be read a second time, and I call the